Welcome back to Netanya Israel. Ralph Pinarcha with Steffi Samaras. Sweden and Italy. On the third day of the knockout round, both teams 1-4, but Sweden yesterday really grew up with an exceptional game, their best game and first win of the tournament, taking care of Finland. They've got the first draw. Italy picking up a win also yesterday against Spain handily. Blue on blue for the Swedes, white on navy for Italy. And the Swedes with a patient set. Coach Marcus Lind thrilled with how everything came together yesterday for the Swedes, particularly their young players, as this is a shot by Anna Clara Nielsen, wide of Nelia Ostafichuk. And Ostafichuk making the start again. Italy looks for the clear with Mariangela Alvino. As her pass ahead for Erica Bolinas is out of her range, but then she'll pick it up and deal it back here to Alvino. Italy yesterday got a big performance from the Santucci sisters, including Adriana, on her 19th birthday, especially coming up with a huge start. So Italy in the white on navy, but they throw the pass out of bounds. They look for Bianca Santucci, and an unforced turnover there. Both teams will be in action tomorrow. Sweden today with a victory, they can avoid 16th and last. The battle is on among Group C teams to finish out of the last spot. That would automatically qualify you for the World Championship in 2021 in Towson, Maryland. So out of Spain, Sweden, and Finland, one of those three are going to finish in 16th place. And there's a couple of big games among those three still to go. Greta Torstensen, as she handles behind Ostafichuk. Natalie Aranda. The quarterback of the Swedish attack is Sarah Bjork, and she in particular, 7 there in blue, is a tall lefty that especially had a strong game with a commanding presence. And we get the foul with Bjork, going to be outside the 8-meter. Just getting started. This is the third game of the day. Sweden's win yesterday was 18-7 as they went on a 10-0 run over the course of the second half, including a 7-0 third quarter to blow that game open. And they lost a heartbreaker on Sunday before an off day, 9-8 to Spain by a goal. Feed ahead here for Lavinia Jones. And Lavinia around Boyson. Approaches Arkival, and the shot is off target. Jenny Arkival in goal for Sweden. She is also their lone goalie and has played every single minute. Transition ahead for Aranda. And we have a whistle and a foul against Italy. So possession for the Swedes. Sweden yesterday celebrating the win for about 15 minutes. What a big moment it was. And now every team at the Euros is assured of at least one win. Aranda. And she picks up shooting space. Aranda was one of the stars for Sweden. And up and down their lineup, they got production. Tekla Jackson came in. And Jackson scored 3 goals. Anna Olofsson, also terrific off the draw circle. This is Aranda shooting, and Ostafichuk making the stick save. As Aranda chases, Sweden has possession again. Aranda darts across, stick save made Ostafichuk, and the ball will be cradled heel by Ostafichuk in goal for Italy. And she has started all but one game during this tournament for the Italians. So we've played 5 minutes of this scoreless opening quarter. Push ahead, Mariangela Alvino. Bianca Santucci. And she's taken off of her shooting angle by Malin Kusinen defensively for Sweden. And it will be a free position for Bianca Santucci. Bianca yesterday going for 5 goals. Adriana Santucci, she finished with 4 and 2 to lead Italy against Spain, who is still in the developing process. Lavinia Jones. Second chance opportunity for the Italians. Bianca Santucci and Archival will squeeze the ball down to the turf. Archival now to sort through the clearing process, and she will go short here to Kusinen. Archival again. Yesterday, Sweden just gained confidence over the course of the game. Marcus Lind was thrilled that they self-corrected all the little mistakes. They were ready to sub through, no offsides. They got in and off the field quickly as this pass is away from Bjork. Bolinas here defensively. And Italy begins this game without a face guard for the moment. They had started their last 2 games with a face guard on a key player. Bea Marginelli for Italy. Marginelli, path to goal, and she beats Archival high. Italy gets the first goal. Long run from midfield for Bea Marginelli. 1-0 Italians. Marginelli has her first goal of the Euros. We've reached the water brink. Italy jumps out ahead on Sweden. One 0 Italy. Ralph Bjornchik with Steffi Samaras, head coach of the Greek national team, bringing you Italy and Sweden. Always fun to visit with Vic Alexander, Lou Scott, and the coaching staff of Italy. They were thrilled to pick up the win yesterday. Opportunity for another. And the Italians know that a win today would also put them in a position where they would qualify for the World Championships in 2 years in Towson, Maryland as well. Back behind Anna Clara Nielsen as she comes out in front, and she has a bouncer. That beats Ostafichuk. So we're even at 1, and Anna Clara Nielsen among the Swedes that had big days yesterday. Anna Clara finished with 3 goals in that blowout win and the assist over the Finns. So 6.5 to go in the opening quarter. Unassisted goal. Lovisa Stadelman will take the majority of the draws for Sweden. With the ball at her feet, and again here's Anna Olofsson. Got a chance to ask Marcus Lind about her today, head coach of Sweden. Olofsson did not make the 2017 World Cup roster. She was always someone aggressive for ground balls. There is Bjork making the save on Ostafichuk and hustled, but now she's improved her stick skills and can pick up the ground balls. Usually the first chance ground balls, and she has been especially vital to Sweden competing here at this tournament. And then yesterday in the second half, and she had a strong one as Aranda looks to the front. Stadelman. Marginelli knocked it free. Free position outside, Stadelman. For McRae. And Emma McRae, as she is tied up, she had the flag.
5 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
1-1 game. Sweden yesterday also was able to have their first lead of this tournament. First lead end of 1 at halftime, etc. En route to their first victory. A lot of new experiences. McRae is able to shoot wide of Ostafichuk's stick and put it into the lower corner pocket. 2-1, Emma McRae, just 15 years old. Here's a water break. McRae off free position, fires it home, her second of the tournament and in as many days. Sweden has its first lead of the afternoon. Emma McRae's second goal of the tournament. And it's a good shot across the face of the cage from the right wing and tucked into the lower right-hand corner behind goalie Nelly Ostafichuk. And her celebration certainly showed how good of a shot she thought it was. Sweden picks up another draw control. And Sweden getting contributions from up and down their lineup in these last 2 days. Yeah, they had to learn through a tough loss in the opener, 9-4 to Finland. And then the Czech Republic, 21-2, but they did get a couple of goals. The Czech Republic pitched a couple of shutouts. And Sweden was not one of them. Here is Stadelman able to bring the pass down. Now Greta Torstensson. No face guard from Italy. Something they've done over the last 2 days. Yeah, and Sweden has kept the ball out of the hands of the Santucci sisters. Just run true possession by Italy, settled in a 6-on-6. Marginelli has the goal in transition. Here's a cut and another low shot. It's a good one. Franzen from Aranda. 3-1 Sweden. Time called, and Nelia Ostafichuk
Assisted by number 3, Natalie Aranda.
is headed to the Italian bench. She must have known there's a water break. Ostafichuk and the Italian defense looking to regroup. They need a draw. Sweden in the midst of a 3-0 run and lead the Italians. (3-1) Sweden following the water break. The second one of this first quarter. We'll have 2 for these afternoon games until the temperatures cool down. Stadelman never got a beat on the official's whistle and started late anyway, but the possession will go to Adriana Santucci. So Adriana matched up against Anna Olofsson. And the Swedes would love to contain the Santucci sisters today. Not necessarily in a face guard, as Francesca Pucci comes onto the field for the first time, Italy's 15-year-old. Back behind Adriana Santucci. Behind Jenny Arkival, the double team comes. The help from Olofsson. Foul committed. 1.5 to go. First quarter, Sweden up on Italy 3-1. Adriana Santucci from the wing. Santucci taken off of her right hand as Sweden collapses. But as she turned and shot, the flag is out, and now a yellow card coming out against the Swedes. So that sends Angelika Karlsson, starting defender, off the field for Sweden.
Yellow card.
So Italy is going to have a 6-on-5 split over the first and second quarters. So it will be Adriana Santucci this time with more room. She's got 9 goals and 4 assists. 17-2 for her older sister Bianca. Ravelli. Skip over the top. Adriana Santucci cannot bring it down. 6-on-5 continues.
Remaining in the first quarter.
As the foul there against Sweden's Kusinin trying to cancel out Ravelli.
There, I'll just do it just like that. That's perfect.
Ravelli
30 seconds.
met by Stadelman. Final 30 seconds
No, it's just.
of this opening quarter. To the crease, Pucci shooting. That's off the stick. Archival the save. Position for the ground ball again is Italy with Livia Passarelli, who sees some first half action here for the Italians. They look inside for Pucci. Elena Onug shot off cage. Pucci is able to scoop, but that's it for the first quarter. Sweden, Nilsson, McRae, and Fransson. Sweden looking for their second win. They're through one quarter with the lead on Italy. Second quarter gets started. Sweden leads Italy 3-1. New goalie in for Italy after Nelia Ostafichuk, after the third goal late in the first quarter, appeared like she hurt herself and was favoring her right leg. And meanwhile, here is Ravelli. So Yulia Melli may have to go longer than she has in this tournament. Ravelli, and she'll pick up an early foul. Benny Ravelli, full name Anastasia, but prefers Benny. She looks for her first goal. And Ravelli is denied there, I think, by the knee of Archival. Pucci, as she comes out in front and misses. Back up for Italy. They'll have it again. Now we are all even, as back on the field is Angelica Carlson following that brief tail end to a 6-on-5 player up. Adriana Santucci, oh, what a fine shot. Snaps it off the crossbar and down. Adriana Santucci, 10th goal of this tournament, as she has looked like a different player in the last 2 days, so it's 3-2.
Yeah, she does a really good job of keeping her defenders to her non-dominant side. And that quick snap of her wrist, of her dominant hand, is what is able to get that ball and that power in there.
So Adriana becomes the second player from Italy with double-digit goals in this tournament. Sweden with a win would avoid 16th place for sure and last. Italy with a loss, they would potentially put themselves on the bubble. Big game coming up next too in that regard. Finland and Spain. Whoever finishes in last, 16th place at the Euros, does not qualify for the World Cup. Olofsson. Along the restraining line, Adriana Santucci able to protect through.
And Ralph, I don't know if this is the first time this has happened, and we have somebody here from World Lacrosse, but I think this is the first time that we're using a qualifier for the World Cup. It is, as we just get, there's going to only be 30 teams in the World Cup. So this is the first time that the European teams have had to have potentially the squad that they're going to take to the World Cup, or have a really good idea of it, because you have to qualify now.
Yeah, you have to earn it. In some other years when not as many nations were playing a decade ago, you could use this as somewhat of an extended training camp, especially for the more established nations. Free position, Pucci. That's off the side netting, pick up behind. Pucci gets it back. Then the pass batted down by Olofsson. And the recovery here by Italy again. And there's the new qualifier also in North America that will take place, that the United States and Canada will be in. Mexico, Colombia will be there. So we're seeing the next step in terms of structure of the world stage. And this is all a preamble to a potential Olympic bid for men's and women's lacrosse. Where just like in soccer World Cup action, you have to win to a certain amount in your region. And just in the last World Cup, we saw super teams left out of the World Cup, or name programs. As here is Alvino. Right, in the last men's soccer World Cup, 4 major powers: the United States, the Netherlands, Italy, and one more that is escaping me in men's soccer that did not qualify for the World Cup, which would be normally unheard of out of the regions they play in and based on their name brand. But that's what occurred with the depth that occurred there, and someday women's lacrosse could even be at that juncture where there are teams at the top that are threatened in the Europeans.
Definitely, and that becomes, you know, you see so much of these same type of tournaments for all of those other events, and it now becomes something you have to continually do over and over again. You can't just stack a team for one particular event.
Alvino, free position for Italy. And they've come back to tie Sweden at 3. We've hit the water break of the second quarter. Italy, they've got both goals here in the first 7.5 minutes. Mariangela Alvino gets the latest one, her 3rd of the tournament. We'll take a timeout from Netanya.
the weekend before.
3-3, Italy and Sweden. Adriana Santucci forces the draw control ahead. Emma McRae swoops in for it. And McRae will give Sweden the possession. By the way, we have a special someone to thank. A special, major, hearty thank you goes out to Philip McRae, Emma McRae's father, who was watching the game in the United States yesterday when we mentioned the story about the Swedish pancakes. So in this world of instant connectivity and technology, Emma gets a text, and what happens later in the day? We get Swedish pancakes delivered to us. And they were ultra tasty. I'd never had something that was a specific Swedish pancake. Emma, with a smile, came by and delivered them. So very special thanks to Philip McRae, who we understand was watching as he was traveling on business in the Midwest. And then just another surprise is here's a shot by Bjork that is off. Of course, the pancakes were courtesy of the Orit Hotel here in Netanya. Sweden invited their cook because the Orit Hotel is owned by natives of Sweden. The name Orit is a Hebrew name, but the culture of the hotel, the chef of the hotel and the owners are all Swedish. So the chef is here from Sweden that's been making all these Swedish-specific meals for Team Sweden, got invited to the game, and is here watching Team Sweden play in Netanya. Bjork shot off target, and I would imagine, should Sweden win, I gotta think it would be a really special meal prepared for the Swedes if they got it with a chef in attendance.
And not only that, I think a little bit of home when you're here for so long.
Yeah, great comfort there. And Philip McRae, our special thanks. And then a special visitor for Team Sweden. Feed inside, and it's Aranda. Sweden back in front, 4-3.
That was a great finish by Aranda, right off the post. And again, I'm going to continue to say this all day. Other than
Natalie Aranda.
for Linda Nutieri, it's so hard to make the low save.
Linda Duterte, the goalie of Latvia, 16 years old, that especially in the fourth quarter held off Austria in a one-goal win, just the fifth one-goal game of this tournament. Latvia has two of them. Spain has the
Two.
other two, right? Each of them have won two one-goal games. The fifth one-goal game with Germany last night over the Netherlands. And one overtime game. And we've had about 3 two-goal games. Here is Santucci, Bianca Santucci, and she rockets one low. Well, the idea of the low save, and looks like Bianca took it from a low angle, and we're quickly even again.
Yeah, you can't really let Bianca Santucci get the ball at the restraining line and have nobody to stop her. She's got the speed, she's got the power, and we've already seen this entire week she's got the ability to finish.
18 goals for Bianca Santucci, so she will have an opportunity to pass perhaps Ali Kerwin, Sophie Coombs-Roberts for Italy into tomorrow for the golden boot, or the golden stick, we shall call it, of the
Ooh, I
tournament.
like that.
Olofsson. So we're tied at 4. And back behind it comes for Nielsen. Bjork on the last assist for Sweden, her first point after a 7-point game yesterday. Ball carried across, and Tekla Jackson on the field for the first time. She had 3 goals yesterday, and Tekla is still not 100% healthy and still giving it a go, as Marcus Lind explained. Everybody got involved, and now we have a call against Italy. A free position against Julia Melli. Olofsson fading away a bit on the shot as it went wide. Emma Fransson. Sweden led 3-1 at the end of one. Now we're 5 minutes to go and counting, second quarter. Tekla Jackson. A lob, Fransson, catch, finish. A very tight spot, and Tekla Jackson showed some fine touch on the delivery. Fransson buries it, 5-4 Sweden.
Fransson had to go up so high to collect that ball, and one of the reasons that shot's able to go in is because she's shooting from low to high. Italy's goalie has got to step out high and take away that angle, and Fransson just slams it down low.
Tekla Jackson on the assist. Here's the water break of the second quarter as Sweden is back in front.
By number 15, Emma
5-4 Sweden. Draw control outside the circle, and this time it's Ravelli that gets to it first for Italy. So Italy has its hands full. They're from Group B, but they finished last. Before Italy picked up his first win yesterday over Spain, 11-3. Their most competitive game in the group, so actually 2 games. They led Norway in their finale for large stretches before Norway was able to put together a 5-2 fourth quarter to win it, 10-8. And then Italy had opportunities to defeat Latvia in the opener, lost 10-7. Here's Lavinia Jones right into the stick of Arkival. So she did not change planes there. Arkival ahead for Lovisa Stadelman.
Arkival has been making those big-time saves, and although it looks like she's just catching the ball, it's a huge step that decreases the angle.
Oh, what a shot there, sweeping across Aranda as she takes an errant pass. And Natalie Aranda, one of the co-captains for Sweden, and she extends it now to 6-4.
And you say a sweeping pass, that is what moves the Italian goalie, is that sweep. And then the shot back to where you just moved her from.
Sweden gets a break. Aranda's 5th goal of the tournament. And the good news for Sweden, Sarah Bjork has yet to really factor in either. As Bjork had the biggest game yesterday. With 4 and 3. Draw control, Bianca Santucci. Santucci tried to slip the pass through for a cutting Lavinia Jones. Pick up Marginelli. To the crease, it's open. Ravelli pauses and finishes. Ravelli's first goal of the Euros. Italy is back within 1.
And patience, patience, patience. Sometimes people say you can't have enough, and that's totally true. Patience will pay off, especially for the attackers.
Marginelli will get the assist.
Assisted by number 12, Bea Marginelli.
Ravelli had a full 2 seconds there
5 seconds remaining in the first half.
to make the shot be uncontested against Arkival. Now Sweden puts up Beam Boyson on the draw circle. Against Martinelli, it's Boyson that takes it off the bounce.
One minute remaining.
Final minute of the first half. We'll see how Sweden plays this. They get a late substitution on too. Nielsen. Nielsen wanted to be aggressive to goal. She'll get a free position. So Anna Clara Nielsen with 30 seconds left, so the clock will now stop and then resume as the shot is taken. Nielsen with 3 yesterday, takes it low! Sweden again by 2.
I love my bounce shots. I absolutely love the bounce shots, especially with no angle. You never know what type of bounce the ball will take.
Anna Clara Nelson.
Nielsen with her second of the game. Another free position goal.
28 seconds remaining.
That's the second for Sweden. 20 seconds left. The clock will stop on any whistle with under 30 in any quarter. Olofsson, so persistent in ground ball efforts, especially the tough ones.
You know, it's interesting, Olofsson going for those ground balls. And it seems to me that she picks those ground balls up left-handed, but she actually is right-handed, I think, which is, you know, for as long as I've played this sport of lacrosse, the most awkward thing for me to do is pick up a ground ball with my left hand.
Olofsson, though, she has worked and made the team this year after being one of the last cuts in 2017. Bjork cannot get the shot off. She is a big part of Sweden's first half, where they have scored 7 more goals. That matched what they did yesterday in their win over Finland. So we've reached halftime. Sweden 7, Italy 5. We'll be back in 15 minutes for the second half. The third quarter is about to begin with Sweden leading Italy 7-5. Sweden looking for their second straight win. And what might be their biggest sign of growth, because they're playing in a game that they know would lock them into the 2021 World Cup. Again, what's at stake? Top 15 teams out of the 16 here at the Euros will qualify. One team will be left out. Sweden already has a win, and that came yesterday against Finland. Here's Lovisa Stadelman shooting, and save made by Nelia Ostafichuk, who's now back in the game with her right leg, her lower right tibia being bandaged. She did leave the game with a right leg injury, so maybe it was just taking a shot off of the leg. But Sweden has possession. Italy, if they lose, they would be in a very tricky spot too. But they did beat Spain yesterday handily in a knockout round game. Now the knockout round games count, and unfortunately, in the case of Finland, the group play games don't count. The Finns have taken some injuries and are really running on fumes right now. But it's about the knockout round games that determine your place. So even if you went undefeated in group play,
it doesn't
necessarily matter. You need wins in the knockout stage. So here is Sarah Bjork behind. Ralph Bjork with Steffi Samaras, third quarter underway. Look at a crease roll, then come back in front, and Franson, good move. Backup stays with Sweden.
So it's going to be interesting what Italy tries to do here. Down 2, they are a much more powerful offensive team if they can get the ball off of the draw. Sweden has done a very good job of winning the draw so far in the first half and now off the second half. But what Sweden needs to do is continue to move the ball. I believe that they are going to continue to take a lot of these one-on-ones, and Italy's defense is playing very well against the one-on-one. How quickly can Sweden move the ball around? And you can see on the weak side we have a Swedish player wide open.
Sarah Bjork circles. Bjork then gets the shot off. And good late contest from Bea Marginelli of Italy. That's the way Bjork scored a couple of her goals yesterday against Finland. So I imagine that Italy had her well scouted. Now Franson. Now the backhand shovel shot inside, but she stepped in the crease. She had the thought backing down Capriati, and Sweden will give up the possession.
And that's a great hold by Italy's defense. Remember, anytime an attacker puts their back to the defender, you have this potential of a charge. Although I think she stepped in the crease, I wouldn't have been surprised if they had also called a charge in that situation as well. Italy has to get some more attackers involved in this offense. They can't just rely on the Santucci sisters to do everything for them. And in the end of this game, I wouldn't be surprised if Sweden starts to mark either both or one of those sisters out.
Bianca Santucci fires into the stick of Archibald. Well, Santucci, she and her sister Adriana have been held to 1 goal apiece. So for Sweden, a developing nation, that's a good number. The Santuccis have put up good numbers against both Finland and Spain. As here ahead is McRae. And McRae took it into traffic in the pickup here by Nielsen.
And it looks like Italy has gone to a mark out here in this close corner.
So Francesco Lero has come in against Anna Clara Nielsen. She is the man-marking specialist as her role for Italy. So Coach Vic Alexander, Lou Scott, Lindsay Coflieri, and their staff putting together this man mark, or Lindsay Colferai on this man mark, to at least shake the game up perhaps. They did a good job of it against Sarah Quigley of Spain.
They've done it twice actually, I think, with Sarah Quigley. Interestingly enough, I want you to pay attention to how focused that Italian defender is. She's going to probably not even be involved in their transition.
Alvino. And momentum to pick up the clear. And maybe a little more. Flag out. Mariangela Alvino.
10 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
I love that take by Alvino. Part of me wishes that call didn't exist because I want her to shoot there. But that's the defender in me that wants the defender to shoot.
And so does the defender. They want to get the goals and show that they may be able to graduate up to the midfield.
Exactly.
And Alvino instead has to pass, but it's a good thought into Adriana Santucci. Alvino on the dish, and it's 7-6.
And you know, we've seen more and more of this as the tournament has progressed. It's the defender that's guarding the attacker low that is getting called for the shooting space and then going behind. So the attacker ends up wide open.
7-6. Early third quarter water break. Sweden with a win automatically qualifies for the World Championship.
Once you get it.
7-6 the score. We hear Vic Alexander from Italy calling out instructions to her team as Stadelman up ahead, room for Franzen. And she jumped through, and the flag is out, and she'll go and have a free position. Well, Vic's still teaching. Matter of fact, she gave me another bit of trivia. She has 5 of her former students and players she coached in high school at St. Catherine's, which is located in Bramley in England, here in the tournament, including players such as Tilly Shires of England. Actually, 3 different teams are represented, players in Wales, England, and Scotland were hers as players. Here's a shot, and that's Franzen missing. And also Emily Gray is her assistant coach from Team England.
Wow.
So Vic has her hand in basically every team
Here.
So whether she likes it or not.
Exactly.
So we'll see if she'll maybe have some t-shirts thrown her way as a sign of gratitude from those other nations. So here is Natalie Aranda. And Aranda has 2 goals, along with Anna Clara Nielsen. Pressured out by Vivian Vitali. Aranda looked for the cutter through. Olofsson, well defended. And then Stadelman turned and fired. No face guard here during this possession by Italy. So they've gotten themselves within a goal. Franzen restarts against Erica Bolinas. And it's a question worth asking, Steffi, at what juncture in a program's development do you start incorporating things such as a face guard, how to play 5-on-5 offensively in those special situations?
You know, I think it's so many of these developing countries have learned so many things here, and it's interesting some of the chalk talk that we've gotten into with some of these coaches. But this was the first time that Coach Alexander put in a face guard because she felt it was necessary. All of these coaches know their personnel so well that when things come up, your team has to be able to adapt.
Here's Boyson, and that shot perhaps off the shoulder of Ostafica. Good save.
And I'll be not the first to say that role players in tournaments like this can sometimes be the biggest game changers. You have girls who are used to scoring or girls who are used to defending having to play a completely different role for the betterment of the team. And the girls who can do that the best, their teams are going to go the farthest.
And certainly with stars that get limited by scouting reports, like the job that Israel is able to do on Sophie Coombs-Roberts last night in their semifinal victory, as Aranda is fouled, and she'll be on the wide hash, just off goal line extended. This is the third game of the day. Finland and Spain will follow in an important one to determine that question: who will be in the top 15, who will finish 16th, and then Germany, Scotland, Netherlands, Ireland for 5th and 7th places respectively to close out the second to last day. Ground ball pushed ahead, one-handed there by Jackson, and she almost had a chance to shoot on an open part of the goal. But another possession for the Swedes as Jackson will get a run here at Aranda, will remain on. And Coach Marcus Lind, in a rare instance, does not have Sarah Bjork on the field.
5 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
We have 5 minutes left in the third.
We spent the first 2 games today talking about possession time. Sweden has possessed for almost this entire fourth quarter, except for the Adriana Santucci goal. So now they need to produce, because at some point the tide will eventually change. We've seen it happen this entire week. Italy will have to come out and play and potentially cause some of those turnovers.
Boyson, and she tried to split dodge across against Capriati, falls down. Capriati working hard. And Francesca Capriati, a tough ground ball. And then stepped out of bounds, and the Italy coaching staff up in arms that Capriati was fouled there. Here's a water break. So that gives the ball back to Sweden. Italy will remain on defense. What'll be into the 4th minute of that possession. 7-6 the score. 4.5 left in the third quarter. Sweden continues to lead Italy 7-6. Late third quarter, 7-6, Sweden continuing to lead Italy. Natalie Aranda, dash to the front, shooting. It's back to a 2-goal game. Well, Aranda just has a way about her. She may not be the fastest, but she can separate from defenders. 8-6.
And if you notice where she came from, Ralph, she started that drive in no man's land. That in-between area that I love for an attacker, but I hate for a defender, because they can go on either side of you. And the best part about going on either side of you is that they can rub you off on the crease. Either way.
Aranda has shown her intelligence during this tournament. She has 6 goals now, 3 in this game. Sweden up 8-6. And Italy needs to start making some of the small plays in this game. Whether it's not fouling and first chance ground balls. Here's one along the restraining line. Stadelman missed the first one. Marginelli. And that is what Italy has been waiting for. Now Bea Marginelli.
That is a really good ground ball pickup.
Santucci down low, and Jones maybe taking a scoring chance away as Santucci rocketed the pass at her. And Lavinia Jones will settle it.
Listen to coach. Use the crease.
Jones gets herself free. Oh, and she beats Arkival. Arkival never saw the shot.
I don't think Arkival saw the shot, because I think she's looking right into the sun right there when she sees that. It's just about, that goal is just about to be hidden by the shadows.
That tough time of the afternoon, Lavinia turned 23 last week, has her 6th of the Euros. A minute to go in the third quarter.
Sweden leads 8-7.
Jesus, you're gross. It's coming to from the soda. You are gross. It's not just me.
Olofsson. But then the pass dropped by Aranda.
1 minute remaining in the third quarter.
And it's going to be Italy ball. Vitali. Lavinia Jones, a lot of room to run. Lavinia Jones can go to cage. It rattled out.
30 seconds remaining in the
Pick up by Ravelli. In front, Adriana Santucci shoveled it into the low corner. Ravelli lobbed it into her. We're tied at 8.
What a great shovel shot. With being aware of where the goalie was, she pumped faked on her right and then spun around and shoveled it to that backside post. Very great awareness of where the goalie was lined up, as well as where the defenders were.
Three
3 goals for Adriana Santucci.
Adriana Santucci, assisted by number 7, Betty Ravelli. 22 seconds remaining.
You guys going shopping yet?
And at the restraining line, it's Lavinia Jones. It is Santucci firing off target. That's how quick it can happen as Italy has backup here in the final seconds of the third.
And this is what we're talking about, these momentum shifts. These 2 and 3 goal swings.
Vitali thought about going left and dropped in to the cage of Archibald, and that's it.
And at the end
Jones and Adriana Santucci at the end of the third have tied the game at 8 between Italy and Sweden. Sweden with a win, they would clinch a spot into the top 15 and a spot in the World Cup in 2 years. An important next 15 minutes to come. Fourth quarter, we might have our second consecutive one-goal game. We've had 5. 2 hours ago, Latvia came from behind and defeated Austria in what we're calling a mild upset. 8-7. Here it's 8-8 between Sweden and Italy. Sweden held an 8-6 lead before Lavinia Jones. Adriana Santucci got 2 quick ones. And Italy had a chance to even have the lead going into the fourth. So here comes Bea Morganelli. And Italy, after struggling early, they've rallied, started to clean things up. Still not a lot of ball time yet from Santucci, and here's a low shot. Jones beats Archibald. And it appears that Archibald is struggling with sight, with the ball going from the sun into the shadows, in and out.
I actually 100% agree with you. It's almost like she didn't react to that ball at all, which is so unlike her.
Lavinia Jones,
A-
unassisted.
And that's when you can lose the ball. And now that I look at the shadows on the field, the shot was taken, and she could have just lost that ball and where it bounced between the sun and the shadow.
Yeah, Archibald adjusting the last two into this late afternoon has gotten the worst of it. 2 goals that she has barely reacted to. And when she saw it, it was already in the net. And now they're calling the ball over to Italy as Beam Boyson is upset. So Marginelli, the drop-off. At this point, Steffi, I mean, next level strategy and recognition from players would be to shoot here any chance you get that's within reason to see if Archibald is still struggling.
Again, agree. You know, if you're Italy, you have momentum on your side. So do you continue to use that? You probably want your best shooters shooting. But it looks like Sweden is definitely pressing out more on Bianca Santucci and even Adriana Santucci. So Sweden's got the right response defensively. Can the other Italians put home a goal?
It'll be Marginelli. She'll feed across Santucci, and that one is off cage. That time Archibald reacted better and saw it. Marginelli could have shot from the sun into the shadows, though, rather than drawing it in. And went to Santucci. But just a thought as this ball is lobbed in for Marginelli, and Jenny Archibald has it. So Sweden trails 9-8, with Italy getting the last 3. Boyson, and back on the field is Sarah Bjork for Sweden. Bjork continues across. Aranda didn't quite see it. With this side of the field now nearly entirely in the shadows, Aranda is fouled.
And I agree with what Coach Victor Alexander said right there. She doesn't want her team in a double team if they're not going to be disciplined in that double team. And not only do they have this double team back behind cage, but they have the end line that they can also use as a potential triple team.
Waterbridge. 11 minutes.
Italy will have something to discuss, but now they're protecting a 9-8 lead with 11 minutes left. Here's the first water break of the fourth quarter. Nine to 8 Italy. But it's Sweden with possession with 11 minutes left. Ralph Bednarczyk with Steffi Samaras joining you from Netanya, Israel. Third game of the day. Boyson on the cut. Boyson quickly ties it. Bjork on the feed. Sweden executes out of the water brink.
That's a great look. I'm a little confused as to why Italy is doing so much ball watching, especially if they're man up. And I don't know if they were actually in a double team there, but when you are up by goal, you don't need to press out defensively.
Bjorkman, assisted by number 7, Sarah Bjork. 10 minutes and 30
Bjork with
seconds
2
remaining
assists.
in the game. Score is tied
Being
at
Boyson's
9.
4th goal of the Euros. 9 apiece, 10 minutes left. Jones. Boyson missed the first ground ball for Sweden.
10 minutes. 10 minutes
And it's going to cost the Swedes because Marginelli has it. Italy, I think, has not gotten the kind of game they expected from the Santucci's. Credit Sweden, especially off of yesterday's showing 11-3, where the Santucci sisters probably could have each went for 6 goals against Spain.
Agree. And this is where the better teams show themselves because they have more threats.
Ball inside, save was made originally by Archibald, and then on the other end, that couldn't be finished. Boyson throws it ahead, Bjork. Bjork tried to punch it along, and Bjork fouled. Aggressive defense from Alvino.
And again, this is a time where Italy wants to get their defense set up. Who's going where? Who's taking the ball? Who's doing what? We don't really have that defensive leader on this team. And I would say that probably about a lot of the B division teams and the C division teams. You see the quarterback on offense, but they haven't necessarily developed the defensive leader like you see on those Division A teams.
Stadelman rolls back on Alvino. Stadelman falls down. Bolinas has the ground ball and lays it into the crease for Ristafichuk. Italy will try to clear, 8 minutes left. Ostafichuk. Sweden has been able to put together a full field ride.
And she is really high out right now.
Yeah, this is the furthest I think we've seen a goalie here at the Euros. It's 5 yards past the restraining line. Lob ahead on a bounce, Bianca Santucci. She's ahead, she's got the goal! Ostafichuk.
They called it back.
Oh, they call it back.
She went in the crease.
She stepped in the crease in the follow-through.
Oh, but how she played that ball. Overran it purposely to get her defender behind her.
Aranda. Sweden escapes. Stadelman. And Stadelman shrieks as she took a stick check. Stadelman waits and shoots low and beats Ostafichuk there. 10-9, 18-year-old Lovisa Stadelman for the Swedes.
And the low finish again. I can't stress the importance of the bouncer.
By number 12, Lovisa Stadelman. Unassisted.
Santucci's going to want that one back.
10-9. 6 minutes.
4th goal for Lovisa Stadelman.
6:15.
And you're right, it's almost like a soccer ball chipped over the top that she ran on the end of, but unfortunately, stepping in the crease Second and final water break of the fourth quarter. Sweden trying to hang on. They lead Italy 10-9. (10-9) because of Lovisa Stadelman of Sweden finishing on free position. 8 minutes to go. Santucci, as she got it on the back pedal. Adriana Santucci has 3. Bianca has been limited to 1 and 1 waved off.
Tactic, maybe a new tactic. Play 4-on-4 and put the Santucci sisters out.
That's what I asked Marcus Lind about, but they're not yet at this stage. And this is a shot that rings the pipe. Santucci had Archibald beaten.
And there was a flag up. Do you think anybody knew about the flag?
And that's where you talk about screaming and yelling about that idea.
Steffi, turn your mic on.
Jones will keep it for Italy. And I asked Marcus Lind about that it's one thing to face guard, but
5 minutes.
to face guard both of them, they may not be ready for that yet. That's further along in the development. As Jones has it.
The other thing too, I think Bianca Santucci, if you watch her cutting, it's very appropriate for where the ball is, but I don't know if her teammates are ready to actually move the ball to her. They're not in a passing position. Her lacrosse IQ is that much higher than theirs because of just her experience. So she really needs to work with them and make sure what she's doing is based on their level.
Santucci, and they throw it into her, and the ground ball belongs to Sweden. Missed opportunity for Italy. They hit the pipe with a chance to tie it at 10. Ahead it comes for Bjork. And Bjork, one-hand grab, and then carry.
All right, so now you're Italy, down by 1. Probably under 4, maybe 3.5 to go. We've seen this before. Can Sweden run out the ball, continue to attack, and what will Italy change defensively to potentially get them the ball back with a shot left in the game?
And Ostafichuk left the game with a right leg injury. She may not be as good of a factor in terms of doubling. Boysen off the double. Italy vacated her on the crease. Bjork hits her. Sweden is about 3 minutes away from clinching a spot in the World Championship. Timeout on the field, 11-9 the score. Boysen finishes the shot. Bjork put it where it had to be.
Assisted by number
11-9 Sweden. They're about to start to think about planning for the next 2 years. Lovisa Stadelman, draw control, self-draw for Sweden. And now up by 2, the Swedes have some real cards on the table. Do they just hold?
Offsides? Oh, no, they're not offsides.
Vic Alexander of Italy will keep Ostafichuk in. She could pull her for another defender, or at least bring in Melli, a bit more of a mobile goalie. Emma McRae to try to run the clock out. I believe we're right about the coming up on the announcement of 2 minutes. McRae recovered the ball from Marginelli, flipped it high, dangerous pass to the crease. Boysen recovers it.
And this is where tactic comes to play. How much has Italy practiced this?
There's the announcement of 2 minutes. Greta Torstensen, McRae, able to rescue that ball. McRae, and then she's fouled. The clock will not stop unless there's a called coach's timeout, or we get to 30 seconds or under 30 seconds on any whistle. 11-9 Sweden. A win clinches a spot in the World Championship in 2 years in Towson, Maryland, in the United States. Boysen.
And what's interesting about Sweden here is you can clearly tell this is probably something they haven't practiced as well. When you watch an England or a Wales or an Israel stall, a lot less running from the offensive standpoint as opposed to the defensive standpoint.
Oh, they'll take the shot. Save made by Ostafichuk. Risk there by Franson, but she gets it out off the goalie, Ostafichuk. And Italy is doing this with a face guard on Nielsen here. Here is Boysen. And instead she lobs it for Bjork, who keeps it in. 30 seconds left for Sweden. Sweden yesterday comfortably over Finland. This is going to be one where they have to do all the little things right. Foul against. It's going to be Italy's ball. So foul on Boysen, but with about 30, Capriati will need a heave. 12 seconds left. They have Santucci ahead. Santucci bothered by Ellie Smith. The pickup at midfield by Francesca Pucci. And that's it. Sweden. Buy your plane tickets now. They'll be in the World Championship in 2 years in Maryland. 11-9 is the final as Sweden celebrates the victory. They score the last three, including Beam Boyson, the tire, and insurance goal.
And that's a fight. You know, this is something that's so great for Sweden. And again, we've just seen our third really good lacrosse game. We've seen some battles. We've seen markups. We've seen girls and taking their team and putting it on their back. We've also seen momentum shifts. It went in Italy's way, and Sweden took it back, especially in that fourth quarter, to score the last 3 goals of the game. And I'm super proud of Sweden. This is probably one of the teams that's grown the most over the past 9 days.
Sweden celebrates a roster just 15 healthy bodies. But they gained confidence and steam as this one went along, led 3-1 at the end of one, 7-5 of the half. The run by Italy to tie up the score at 8, and then Italy took the lead 9-8 before Bjork found Boyson on the crease. Stottleman, the big free position shot to give them the lead. Then Stottleman, the 18-year-old, won the next draw control. And then Bjork feeding Boyson in tight. Italy was trying to pressure out, but the slide was nowhere to be found. 11-9, and then the Swedes are able to run out nearly the entirety of the 3-minute clock. 11-9 is the final. Congratulations to Sweden. Despite going 0-4 in pool play, they win 2 games in the knockout round. Defeating Finland yesterday, Italy today. They'll take on Spain tomorrow. And who knows, they may have a chance to climb up the standings here in the Euros when all is said and done. Boyson with 2 huge goals. Natalie Aranda finishing with 3 assists for Sarah Bjork. Big contributions there for Sweden. Italy was led by Lavinia Jones' 2 goals, Adriana Santucci's 3. That's a wrap. For Steffi Samaras, I'm Ralph Bednarczyk. We'll talk to you with a scheduled game time of 5:40, so call it closer to 5:50 local time. Finland and Spain in another similar game, where the winner of that game will put themselves in at least position on the final day to clinch. However, Finland with a loss would likely be out. Spain with a win, they would put themselves